Welcome to Popternative, where we dive into topical discussions from the worlds of pop culture, social media, and sports. Here is your host, Peter Remoliotis, aka PD Beats.
PD Beats here from Popternative, speaking to Chloe Van Landschoot about From, which recently got renewed for season 2 on Epix. You can watch season 1 now, but there will be a season 2, thankfully. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I love the enthusiasm.
Well, I got so excited about season 2 that I almost messed up the intro, and I never mess up the intro. If you see past YouTube interviews, people are like, "Oh my god, you got the intro down," and I did there. But season 2, right?
Right. Season 2, I did the same thing. I was rolling around on my couch, being turning my life into a musical at one point when they announced. So
well, it's just one of those shows that just has so much happening, and the horror component of it really stood out for me. So my first question to you is, knowing the horror and thriller landscape is so crazy right now and big, what's it like working on a show at a time now where the genre is so massive?
I mean, I came from my own little tiny horror show. I nursed throughout the whole pandemic, in Emerge. So that was it was its own horror show. So I went from one horror show to the next.
Yeah.
But one of the horror shows, only people die on TV, and then the other one, people die in real life. So it's same but different. No, it was honestly a complete and total blast. I mean, the cast is incredible on and off screen, and it was a complete bop. We had the best time ever, and nobody really knew what we were in for. I mean, we were all
it's a genre-bending show. I feel like we don't know what it is at times.
No, and we still don't know, and we love that. We love just wondering. And I mean, we all kind of got plopped in Halifax. No one was from there. We all got relocated, so we were all kind of in it together and having no idea what we were in for, but God almighty, here we are.
So your character in the show is a med student, and there's a lot of scenes where it's 0 to 100 for your character, having to kind of get just thrown in there. Did you know when you auditioned, did you know she was a med student? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, I knew. I was actually on my way to work. I worked at the hospital, and I had a shit before my audition for this. I don't know. I didn't really think too much of it. I just went and did it, and then went to work and did the real thing. And then
so how did that happen? How does that happen? How do you go from being a nurse to act?
Well, nursing is mostly acting, to be honest. Nursing feels like acting a lot of the times, but no, I've been a nurse and an actor kind of my entire adult life. And I got the call for this. They were they're looking Canada wide for a series regular for the show. Auditioned for it, and then
the rest was history.
I lost my mind, and it was incredible. Yeah, but it was really cool because they didn't know I was an actual healthcare worker when I was hired. So it was a really, really groovy collaboration between myself and the writer and the director to make it medically accurate.
I was about to say, absolutely.
Yeah. So we had so much collaborative conversation on how to make this look as realistic as possible, because I mean, I had the knowledge and skill set to be able to do that, and they were totally open to it, and it was a ton of fun to be able to bring
First of all, thank you for everything you did during the pandemic. Because I feel like I have to say that all the time, because healthcare workers are real superheroes don't wear capes. Okay, they wear PPE. That's all I'm gonna say.
Slightly.
No, but it's just so that's very interesting. Then, is that kind of a little ironic then, though, that you get you know what I mean by that, a little bit?
Yeah, it's kismet for sure. Yeah. I was totally down for it. It was cool. Sometimes you just simply are the parts you play, and this was a case where that happened. Your
character is a very interesting character, that because she is there, as a med student and helps a lot of people out during a lot of issues. Yeah. She has a lot of mixing with a lot of characters. She talks to a lot of different characters.
Yeah.
when you kind of see that in the script, are you kind of like prepared to kind of have that role where you like your character is going to be a little bit of like an introvert and kind of like extrovert, sorry, and go out there and like what's it like preparing for a character like that? Because she's like you have a lot of scenes with different people.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, I approach it from like how are people in real life? You know what I mean? Like, how do you interact in real life? How do I interact with my patients at the hospital? I don't think too much of it. I just kind of let my approach in scenes, and when I'm working with the scene partners, just to kind of let things arrive organically. You have an idea of like where you're coming from in the scene. Yeah. But everything, how you get there is, well, you see how it goes. No, because
I say that because, you know, your character has a lot of scenes with Matthews. She has a lot of scenes with Boyd. She has a lot of scenes with Kenny. And there's some characters like the Matthews, Hannah like has a lot of scenes with like Peg and Cortion because she goes to Colony House. But like a lot of characters just have like scenes with certain people in the show, if you know what I mean.
Totally.
But your character kind of gets...
she spreads her wings.
What's that like working with Ricky specifically? Because there was a lot, especially last couple of episodes, there's a lot happening there. There's a little bit of like a buzzkill, if you know what I mean.
A buzzkill and then some hope, you know, as humans are. Like, we're riding a wave. We're stuck in this place. We're figuring it out, you know. Yeah. No, I love Ricky. Ricky's great. He's super easy to work with. He's down for whatever. He's super talented actor and became a good friend too. Like, and especially when you form those relationships with people off camera and then you go into the scene, it's just everything just is so natural and real and in tune with each other.
What's it like to be on a show that has one of the scariest scenes of a show I've ever seen in my life? #staircase guy.
#staircase guy.
You know the guy with a freaking smile on the staircase? Like
the monster?
The monster, yeah. No, like that is like I'm telling you right now, that's the scariest thing I've ever seen.
It was pretty wild. And I wasn't there when they shot that, so it was even a surprise for me.
Yeah, as a viewer,
That's the fun part about the show, because there's like 13 series regulars. Like, you often have no idea what's going on for the rest of the show because there's just so many storylines. So I had no idea what I was in for. And then I watched that same thing. I was like, oh my God, where did they find him?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. Like, the first sequence of the whole show with the grandma is like terrifying on its own because it's like the first thing you see. So you kind of get thrown in and like, you can't escape. Like, you're like, what did I just watch? Right? You know what I mean?
I arrived here.
But then that party, like the Fatima's party is just like the most, I was uncomfortable that whole episode. Like, that was a rough one, was it not?
And that's the point. You did a good job then to make you feel uncomfortable.
Well, that is the point.
On your toes and keep you wanting more.
Thank you for the nightmares. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome.
Season 2. First thing coming to your mind. What like when did you know? Did you guys find out? I know about NDAs and everything. Did you guys find out when everyone else found out?
We found out probably 3 hours before everybody else found out. I got a call from my agent at like 11 p.m. on a Friday. Less than a week ago. So yeah.
Is it kind of one of those things where you just kind of do your thing and you don't think about it much, right? But you see the excitement and the theories online, so there's a little bit of hope? Or does that even make it worse that you're just thinking, oh, maybe we'll, like, what, do you not just think about it at all? Is that what happens?
Every waking moment of my life.
Yeah. No, what I'm saying is it better just to kind of try not to think about it and then just kind of wait?
I mean, it's like the more you try not to think about something, the more you just end up thinking about it.
Very true.
But no, I mean, there was obviously a lot of positivity and like reception for the show. So we were all like, oh, gunning for it. But so many wild things happen. And my agent has like seen so many crazy things happen where there's incredible shows that just get canceled. So we were just like holding out to get super excited until they
well, I want to do like an interview of you again down the road if you do want to come back about like season 2 down the road. But like, I want to know if you could talk to the showrunners, because the way season 1 ends, it's one of those, you know what I mean by that? Yeah, I know. Like, come on, like, it's kind of one of those, like, that would be the most stressful thing of all time if that like did not get a season 2 is what I'm saying.
100%. We would have a lot of angry people. We already did have a lot of angry people. Like I pay attention to like all the like the Reddit and like the Facebook fan groups and stuff. And people were like literally out for blood if there was no season 2. It was incredible. I was like, we have some dedicated fans. I'm here for this.
Well, the part 2 where Jim Matthews played by Ian Bailey, like the part where I think it's a monster. So, like we don't even know, but like when he's like, your wife shouldn't be digging that hole, Jim, that like scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Like the last 10 minutes of the finale is like well done. Is it not crazy?
It's insanity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even though I've like read the script, was familiar with what was going to happen, like you still don't know how they're going to put things together. And I was just like, holy cow.
And then the bus. Although I have predictions about the bus. But
you and everyone else, we love it.
We have predictions. I mean, the fan theories is really amazing, right? Because I feel, but like, do you find the fan theories are kind of like, there's so many different ones. Like some people I agree with. There's some that I'm like, I don't understand how, like maybe, you know what I mean? Like it's interesting to see both perspectives, right?
100%. And like, it's fun to read, like all like the ingenuity and stuff like that. I'm like, holy cow, writers should like come in and like read some of these theories because they're good. One of my favorites is like, we're all in Jade's video game.
Yeah.
That I created. I was like, I love that one.
The theory too that someone's a monster is a good theory. And
like running the show?
Yes.
Yeah.
Or there was also like, there was that. Or there was like it's like Scott's character with a lunchbox. Victor. There's a rumor that Victor's like there's a theory about Victor's like a hybrid where one of his parents is a monster and the other's not. Did you hear about that one? That's an interesting one.
I haven't heard about that, but I like that.
That's interesting, right? Yeah.
Interesting.
It's so crazy.
The cool thing about a show like this is it just like it enlivens everybody's like creativity.
The character names I forget here and there because I have to understand Epix gave this to me like a while ago. Like I watched the finale like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So it's all coming back to me. You know what I mean?
Into the time.
But you know, there's always going to be like the Lost comparisons because of they're never like they're always going to be there. Obviously, From wants to be its own thing. This is the only challenging question I'm going to ask you throughout this whole interview. And it's not even that bad, but it's like, how do you like From wants to be its own thing, right? What do you think about the Lost comparisons? I mean, they're there because of like the people who created it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can't escape that.
Yeah.
The part of the creators of Lost are also making the show, but Lost was also one of the most like revolutionary television shows of its time.
Yeah.
So we have those minds also on our show. I think there's like a high probability that our show can sit in that land but stand on its own feet in its own way.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of streaming services out there. It's a crazy time right now for streaming services. This show's on Epix.
Yeah.
This is becoming one of the flagship kind of go-tos for Epix. What's it like being on a show where it's one of the kind of the go-tos for a streaming network? What do you think about that?
I mean, it's pretty groovy.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I mean, this is my first large thing I've ever booked, and to be kind of on a flagship show for a network is wild.
Yeah.
Feel super lucky.
It's so great. Oh man, it's so good. It's so scary. Like it legit is like a very scary TV show though, right? How like you say like, oh, like it's a horror show that you watch it. It's like, oh, it's not scary. It's like this one is like terrifying at times.
Yeah. And I mean, because I know everything that's going to happen and I'm like, I know too much. So it's like hard to sit and like watch it as an audience member and be like, is this scary? I don't know. But I definitely jumped out of
Staircase guy, grandma in the beginning, what happens to Boyd at the end. Knowing what might happen to that school bus is also like a horror movie on its own.
100%.
Okay, if you know where I'm going with that, yeah. It's like
I'm interested, motivated, and terrified when I receive that script for what we're in for.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. Chloe, this was a blast. Thank you so much for coming on Popternative.
Thanks for having me.
So season 1 of Epix, season 1 of From on Epix. They can watch that now, which is amazing. And, season 2 is coming eventually. And where can people follow you on social media to keep update with everything?
Totally. At ChloVLS, so CHLOVLS on Instagram. And then my Twitter handle is the same.
Amazing. Well, this has been Popternative, youtube.com/Popternative for previous episodes. Until next time, this is Chloe Van Landschoot and Pity Beats signing off.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube. Be sure to like Popternative on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.